On January 11th, 2005, Capcom, in a partnership with Nintendo, released the latest in their Resident Evil franchise, and in the process, made gaming history forever. This game revolutionized the action horror genre, and as someone who just played it this year, I can confidently say it still holds up really well. There's very little surprise that this game has been re-released so many times on so many different consoles. But there's one release in particular that I want to focus on today. Because in April of 2017, a small company by the name of Otome Software released a demo showcasing their vision to recapture the spirit of the original 2005 release using the most horrifying game genre in existence: the dating sim visual novel. Let's talk about Resident Evil 4 Otome Edition. As I said, this game is just in the demo phase now, but if Otome Software really wants to recreate the revolutionary nature of the original Resident Evil 4 release, they're going to be needing to put their best foot forward from day one. And I will admit that at least conceptually, the company is really hitting the ground running, because visual novel games are just as scary as, if not scarier than, most survival horror games. The simple fact of the matter is that in most video games, you can make a multitude of mistakes and bounce back, and if you die, it's really no problem. At the worst, you'll be shuffled back an hour. But in a visual novel, if you slip up just once or twice, you're cast into a land of barren loneliness forever. And to add on to that, in Resident Evil 4, we start knowing that the canonical ending is the bad one.
So, after you take me back to my place, how about we do some, overtime?
Sorry.
Just a cursory glance at the title screen of Otome Edition makes it clear just how much the cards are stacked against you. But this is just the setup, and to risk spoiling the rest of the video, I must confess that after playing the demo for Otome Edition, I have serious doubts as to whether or not it can truly replicate the horrifying feeling of playing Resident Evil 4 for the first time. The team at Otome Software have clearly gone to great lengths to flesh out and give more motivation and realism to the men of Resident Evil 4. The game touches on a variety of things, such as Krauser's strong religious convictions, Sadler's unspoken but clear infatuation with Ashley, and Leon's clear trauma, anguish, and rage when it comes to a wooden container of any kind. More so than any time in history, the men of Resident Evil 4 feel real, and they feel tortured. And while at first glance this seems to be just another point in Otome Edition's favor, I would argue the opposite. As great as this increased story and realism is, if too rampant, it does run the risk of getting away from what made Resident Evil 4 such a groundbreaking game in the first place: hunky boys. Sure, this new Leon has depth, but in the demo he only shouts one of his ingenious, inspiring one-liners.
Don't you think this is a revolutionary way to promulgate one's faith?
Sounds more like an alien invasion if you ask me.
In fact, he rarely talks at all. And is a Leon Kennedy that barely speaks actually a Leon Kennedy at all? But I will admit that this is less of a genuine problem and more just a general risk. No, Resident Evil 4 Otome Edition's true downfall is, ironically enough, its overcommitment to the source material. Point by point, this game is meticulous in its commitment to the source material, replicating even the most minute actions a first-time player of Resident Evil 4 would make. But because of that, the mystery is gone. A critical part of the horror of dating sim visual novels is the unknown. That creeping sensation that seemingly unassuming choice you just made is going to ruin your love forever. That every choice you make has real social consequences. But in this 30-minute demo, the player is given exactly one choice. And no matter what they say, Leon ignores them, continuing down the predetermined story path set for you. Clearly, the developers of this game don't want to stray far away from a path well tread. Which makes sense. Resident Evil 4's story is great, why would you want to change it? But ironically, by following this chilling story point for point, Otome Edition takes away the mystery, the stakes, and the soul of Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil 4 Otome Edition is an intriguing demo that showcases a lot of potential, but runs the risk of treading old ground one too many times. InspirationBandit gives this game a Resident Evil 5 out of Resident Evil 4.